Hey there, everybody. It's your girl Barbie J here, and I am back with another recap review of All the Queen's Men, Season 3, Episode 5, Lost and Found. So, the synopsis for this episode says Trouble learns there are lines she's unwilling to cross to make it to the main stage. Amp is jealous of Dime's interest in Big D, and Madam confronts Midnight's suspicious client. And I tell you, I got a couple of laughs in this episode. I don't know why, but certain things just made me laugh. So I hope y'all laugh along with me. But before we get started, if you have not subscribed to this channel, please take a moment right now and hit that subscribe button. Then hit the notification bell and it'll let you know every time I upload a new video. Then I ask that you like the video, which is the thumbs up, write a comment, and share. And you could do this on Hey Barbie J, the channel Hey Barbie J as well. Anyway, it begins with Casanova. He's beat up and tied to a chair, and Madam hands Trouble a gun and tells her to shoot him. But Trouble couldn't do it. She kept saying, but Madam, he's a cop. Madam said, Trouble, you said you want to be down, and you said you're loyal and want to be in the locker room with the fellas and want to be on stage with them. Well, this is what the F we do. And Trouble said, this is a lot, Madam. He's a cop. So Madam takes the gun from her and shoots 2 times towards Casanova. And Trouble goes down and falls back against the wall. Then Madam goes over to her and says, so, when I tell you that you're not ready, you are not effing ready. And Trouble says, yes, Madam. And then Madam tells her to go get her ass back in the amateur locker room. I said, oh, snap. And she ran out like a little puppy dog. Then Madam tells Casanova a story about herself as he's begging for his life. And in her story, she lets him know that when she was 11 years old, she was clinically diagnosed a psychopath. So she is incapable of caring and feeling, though she wished she could. She then gave the gun to Tommy and left as Casanova asked, what is she going to do to him? She ain't say nothing. So now we have a waitress bringing Blue some old bills and points out the female who gave them to her, asking for a VIP room with Midnight. So Blue goes over to speak to this girl. And she tried to act like she was balling and everything like that. And how dare Blue ask what she does for a living, because Blue want to know where she get the money. So she even told Blue to keep the change because she looks like she could use it. And Blue just smiles at her and walks away and mumbles, thank you, bitch, under her breath. So Trouble walks through the club looking pitiful now. And Blue asks, what's wrong with her? And she says nothing. And Blue says, then get your ass back up on the stage. And then Madam walks up and speaks to Trouble. And she responds, with a smile and then walks away. And Madam tells Blue that Trouble wanted to get jumped in, but couldn't pull the trigger. And Blue replied, you told her she wasn't ready. Then Blue tells Madam about the latest stack of bills Midnight's VIP gave. And she showed her the female who requested him. So they were wondering if she and Knight were working together. So Madam goes over to confront the female who was wearing every designer name she owned at the same time. At least that's what Blue said. And Madam said, that's so tacky as a F. Like she trying to act like she got money and she don't. So in the dressing room, Big D tells the guys he thinks he heard 2 gunshots. And Midnight, Doc, and Faye said they didn't hear shit. That's what they said, which means you didn't either. And Big D said, okay. Then Doc told him to mind his effing business. And Amp came in and said, this nigga don't know how to mind his business. And Fuego goes up to Amp and tells him to relax. And Amp tells him to get the F away from him. Then Amp says to Big D, let me holler at you. And they go back and forth about Dime. And Big D is feeling himself talking big time smack. And then Amp, all the guys are standing around watching. And then Amp threatened to slash his mother effing face. You heard? Because the guy Big D kept ending with, you heard? So he said, I'm going to slash your face. You heard? And Fuego goes over to Amp and tells him he's being an asshole. And Amp is like, what are you, my biatch? Because you sure acting like it. And then Amp walks away, and pushes them. And Doc tells Big D to leave Dime alone. He claims he ain't, well, this is Big D. He claims he ain't looking for no trouble. And Face says, it's too late, pretty boy. Remember, Face ain't feeling him because Face was in that little club where Big D was dancing in some small little area room or something. Remember when he smacked the lady and knocked her off? I forgot the lady that he was getting money from. And he hit her and she fell over the balcony. Well, Blue came in there and saw Big D and picked him to go. She gave him the card to come over to Eden. So I'm trying to understand how Big D seemed to be some undercover person, which we're going to see in next episode. But when Blue is the one who I thought she checked him out, she had him come over, saw him dancing there. It's something not right. It's not connecting, and I hope it's not because Tyler Perry's involved in this episode, with the writing and everything, because something is not matching up, and I'm hoping later on down the line it will match. Anywho, after Face says that it's too late, pretty boy, Big D ends with, I will handle mine if I have to. And Face says, we'd like to see you do that. And Big D said, okay. I was like, something ain't right with him. This young boy coming up there like he's so tough. Anyway, now it's time for Amp to go on stage, and Dime refuses to go up there and introduce him like the other dancers, and especially like the country dude. And Amp gets pissed at her. Then she has the nerve to say, this is why I stopped effing with people I work with, because this ish always ends up bad. And I'm sitting there going, mind you now, Amp mentions the country ass Igga, and she says that's the chance she's going to take tonight. What? You going to take a chance of sleeping with him tonight? But you sitting there saying you don't F with the people you work with, but you got to go right back to it. Made no sense. So she just says his name from the DJ booth, and introduces Amp like that. And I'll be honest with y'all, Dime is all the way wrong. She needs to stay professional in Madam's club or establishment or whatever. She's being messy and causing problems in the club, if you ask me. She keeps it up, and Madam just may get rid of her behind. So she better check that. Then Midnight goes to see his VIP, and she wants him to throat F her until she passes out. And he's like, damn, you up in your game. And she says, yeah, I am. And Midnight is like, then you gotta up that money also. And she's like, I got it, don't worry. So he did that, just what she asked. I said, oh my. What in the world? What in the world? Then the amateur dancers come on into the dressing room, and Rayshawn asks Trouble, what's wrong with her? And she says nothing. They're telling her to go out there and get that money. It's hot tonight. And so the other guy asks if she's okay, and she snaps at him saying, leave me the F alone, and walks out. So Rayshawn asks, what's wrong with her? The other guy said, period. He said she still gets it, And I thought that was so funny because she's a lesbian. But he's like, just because she's a lesbian, she still get a period. Then they realize they haven't seen Casanova since he went to Madam's office. So they were like, oh, well, they got to mind their business. So now we have Tommy in Madam's office telling her that Miss Tandy, of all people, is there to see her. And so she comes into Madam's office with a proposition, but tries to start off with small talk, which Madam chose not to engage in with her. So she just lights a cigarette and listens. And she tells Madam, this is Tandy, she tells Madam about her husband is entering a mayoral race, and she wants Madam to privately endorse him with the women at the club, and then any criminal investigation would simply disappear. But what she needs is for Madam to assure that any dealings they've had with certain dancers in her club will stay under wraps. So she asked Madam what she thinks, and Madam just stared at her and blew a puff of smoke into the air. And Miss Tandy leaves saying, I'll just let you think about it. And I was laughing. I said, Madam may say ish to her. And when she leaves out, she says, hi, Face. And he just looks at her, And then she sees Rayshawn and she goes, hi, Rayshawn. And y'all know what she did to Rayshawn, her and her husband. They messed him up really bad. And he just looks at her. He steps back and then walks away with his head held down. I was like, poor Rayshawn. They tortured that man, boy. Now we have Madam walking into Midnight's VIP room. She's pissed that he's doing that mess in her club. They throw water on the female to wake her up, and then they proceed to question her about the money. She was given a lot of attitude, and Midnight said most of his money comes from her. So Madam told Midnight he can leave and proceeded with the questioning, and she caught Homegirl in a lie or two because she said she got that money from her brother last night, but Madam knows he's dead. And how did Madam know? Because she killed him. And then told the girl that they're going to pay her mother a visit because she said he was at her mama's house, they mama house and stuff like that. So she said, we're going to pay your mama a visit, and took the homegirl with them. As they leave out of Eden, Joey wants them to hold up because a couple of motorcycle guys have been riding around every 15 minutes. Of course, Madam doesn't want to wait because she lives for the thrill of danger anyway. And she says she want to go home. She want to take care of this girl, her issue, and then she want to go to bed because she tired. So, of course, Joey's not happy about this. So, Madam, Blue, Tommy, Midnight, and that female walk to Madam's car, and the motorcycles pull up, and it's Fernando and two other guys. Madam got in her car and then got out when he told her to get out. And Joey pushed the door closed, and she said, Igga, let me out of this car. And she got out the car, and Fernando asked, you did that to my sister-in-law? And Madam tells him that she did it and asks, do he want to be next? And I said, oops, oops. And he said, my brother's going to F you up. And she asked, where is your brother? Where is he? But Fernando didn't answer and turned to Blue, pointed two fingers at her and said, bang. And then pointed at Madam and said, bang. And Tommy slapped his hand away. Fernando called him a scary mother effer. But what gets me now, the one thing that got me is that neither Joey or Tommy was standing in front of Madam, just on the sides of her. So if he wanted to shoot her, he would have shot her and she would have been gone. It makes no sense. Anyway, I mean, they supposed to be her protection. So now we have the dancers tipping out, and then when Big D gives his money, she asks him, Dime asks him, where's Amp? Why you ask Big D about that? And he says, in the dressing room, acting like an ass. You want me to go get him? And she said, no, I'll get Tommy. So Tommy, she gets him to do that. And meanwhile, Big D said, I'll be over here waiting for you at the bar since Midnight left with Madam. And I was curious, how the heck did he know that Midnight left with Madam? So Tommy wakes up Amp up off the couch in the dressing room. And when he gets out there to Dime, instead of handing her the pile of money, he brushes it off his hands like making it rain on her. And then he walks away. Tommy is looking at this, then walks over to Dime and asks, what the F you do to that nigga? Dime, you better give that nigga a hug or something. He acted a straight damn ass. So Doc gets home and Detective Davis is in his apartment. Oh, this was the good part. I was like, what? And she talking about she just wants to talk about making a deal. And he said he has cameras all over his apartment. And she said, oh, these cameras. And she held up like 3 of them saying they're all easy to scramble or something like that. He told her she's going to get shot in her ass if she don't get the F up out of his house. And so she pulls out her gun and tells him to use her gun to do it. He said, don't tip me. So then Doc figures that Detective Davis is tempted and that she wants some D. He tells her that, she needs a tune-up. And she's like, do you really think I'm going to risk my entire investigation that she's worked so hard on just to sleep with the likes of you? And he said, yeah, that's why you here. So she's telling him if he works with her, she'll make it worth his while. And he replies, I'm going to make this worth your while. And he has a hard penis in looking at her. And so she turns her head a bit and calls him by his government name, Kenny. She's like, Kenny now. And he takes off all his clothes and asks her how she wants it because he knows her type. They want to be dominated. So he starts to touch her and she said, you don't get to touch me. And he said, fine, you can watch me touch myself. I said, oh, snap. So Detective Davis said, I just want for you to work with me. This is your last chance. And Doc said, and this is your last chance, as he's stroking his penis. Then he added, see how hard I'm getting just looking at your sexy ass. And she tries to leave and Doc said, where you going? You don't want some of this PhD from the doctor? I said he was so smooth with it. I was cracking up. Then he sort of pushed her up against the wall by his front door, turned her around and started kissing her on the neck, and she was enjoying it. Then pushed him away from her and then pushed him onto the couch, and she took off her top and had on a sexy red piece of lingerie, and she climbed on top of him, and they started doing the do, baby. I knew it was about to happen. Meanwhile, across town, Madam shows up at Bill's mama's house with Tasha. Her mama is like, who the F you done brought up in my house? What's going on? So long story short, Madam tells the mama her son, Bill, stole her money and that her daughter came to a club spending it on getting throat effed and passing out. So she says, what are you saying to me? And Madam says she likes to gag on big black dicks, like this one in particular. And I was like, oh my God. So when Madam asks about her money, Mama asks as if she doesn't even know what Madam is talking about. Well, y'all know Madam don't play. She done learned that Mama is a diabetic, and she told her it's time to take your shot. And she was like, what shot? I don't have no shot. And she told Blue, go check the refrigerator. And lo and behold, she comes back with the needle. Mama said, I'm a good Christian woman, and if I had the money, I would give it back. They find her husband all of a sudden in a wheelchair chained to it, and he's sick with dementia. So while this is taking place, Midnight is going around the house looking for places the money could be. Blue finds out that the husband's name is, and they look him up and learn that Mama has been keeping him away from his kids and that they sued her. So Mama gets pissed and tells Madam, you need to get the F out of my house, biatch. And Madam is like, oh my. Did the good Christian woman just swear at me? Then she told Midnight to check the couch. And she said, you better not touch it. And he proceeds to cutting it open, and he finds money in the cushions. That's when Mama said, do you know who I am? And Madam said, yeah, you's a dead biatch, and stabs her with the needle and leaves with Tasha going, oh, mama. And Midnight go, bye, baby. And throws her kiss and stuff. And he took all of the money. Then it ends with Big D showing up in the basement where Tommy is with Casanova. Talking, yo, what's going on? And Tommy's like, what the F you doing down here? And it went off like that. So y'all let me know what y'all thought about this episode down in the comments section. And please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. This your girl Barbie J saying see you in the next video. Peace.